Hola. Okay. So, I don't even know how to begin. I think I'm still processing the beauty of the womb retreat. So if you don't know, my name is Jill, and I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist serving clients in the Fort Myers, Florida area, but also all over the world. And it's been a journey of personal empowerment, I think, in deciding to be self-employed and open my practice and to create this life that I envision for myself. And one of my goals in my career is to curate meaningful spaces for women, for all people, but truly for women. People who identify as women, people with womb spaces, and otherwise. And I hosted my first day retreat in collaboration with a team of beautiful women and facilitators, practitioners, and the day was completely devoted to womb healing and healing the womb space. And it was inspired by my own personal journey with this, and I shared this in the retreat with the women that came. It was maybe over a year ago now that I consciously realized this really deep need for me to do some intentional womb healing. And I remember there was a day I was sitting on the floor in the co-working space. I had the space to myself at Ritual Space, and I found a sunbeam and I was just laying in it on the floor amongst the floor cushions, and I have been processing and healing so much grief that I had around loss of a relationship at that point in time. And it wasn't new. It had been probably a year at that point since being in that relationship, but it made such a profound impact on me. And grief comes in waves, and so that day, for whatever reason, I was feeling it, and so I decided to sit with it and use the tools that I have, that I know that I have, that I can use to work through these emotions and get some clarity. Because I was super confused about why my grief kept coming up, and why I almost felt stuck in this loop. If you've ever heard me talk about LURPs, these long-lasting, recurrent, painful patterns, I felt myself super stuck in it, and the emotions were so strong, they're so fresh, even though so much time had passed. And so I went into self-hypnosis. I guided myself through a hypno journey, and I took myself, my intention for that was to take myself to the place within myself that where I needed to meet myself, if that makes sense. How can I rephrase that? I took myself on a journey to meet myself where I was, emotionally, physically. I needed to see with clarity what I was experiencing, and this journey really woke me up, honestly, to the actual state in which I was in. And so in this journey, I went into my womb space, and I went within, and I remember this visual in my mind of just it being pitch black, and I couldn't see anything, I couldn't feel anything or hear, but I could hear myself wailing. It's almost like when you hear of women in hysteria, as problematic as that is, but that was the level of grief that I was experiencing within myself. And I just heard myself crying and screaming and yelling, just absolutely distraught. And I found myself, and I saw myself, this version of myself in my mind, just absolutely devastated, on the ground, broken. screaming and crying, feeling absolutely abandoned, neglected. And in that moment, I realized that these wounds that I have of abandonment and rejection, we all have them, we all feel them. It is kind of the root of a lot of our trauma and the essence, the inspiration for a lot of our healing in this lifetime for so many of us, especially when it comes to trauma in relationships within ourselves and between ourselves and others. But this abandonment and this rejection of seeing myself just laid out on the floor in absolute misery, you know, I realized that it wasn't even so much about the loss of this relationship or these feelings of abandonment and rejection coming up from that connection. It was that I had in some way abandoned and rejected a part of myself. And that was the realization that I had in that moment. And in my mind, I just went over to myself and I picked myself up and I held her. And as she cried and cried and cried, she just shrank and transformed into a baby. And so in my own mind, I was left observing myself holding myself as a baby. And I think that's how far this goes back, right? This is a feeling that is so primal and so familiar that it goes back to infancy, right? And I think I'm not alone in that. I think so many people experience that. And it's so much bigger than specific instances and experiences in my life, but it all reflects this greater need to really nurture myself and connect with myself and be gentle and compassionate and loving to myself. And it's turned into this whole journey of realizing that my womb healing is inner child healing, and inner child healing is this journey of self-love and compassion and nurturing myself and taking care of myself, creating boundaries that honor me and my needs so that I can show up in my most exalted, loving, and caring self. I think it all comes back to love. And in that moment and through that journey, I realized that it's really important for me to remother myself. And I have a beautiful mother. My mother is so loving and so doting and caring. And my relationship with my mother is healing in its own way. You know, mother wounds, it ripples through generations, you know. And the relationship, the dynamic with my mother is something that I'm continuously becoming conscious of and wanting to improve. And it really does start with me. And so I've been in this journey of remothering myself through inner child work and through womb healing. But all of this personal journey that I've gone on, it's really, that has been the root and the cause and the desire to share this journey and this experience and this really profound healing work with other women. Hence the womb retreat. And so we had this retreat finally. It's been in my heart and my mind for a long time. And it finally birthed into the world under the full moon in Scorpio, which was not on purpose. It was a very happy? It was a happy coincidence. A serendipitous alignment, I think, is really what it was. Divine alignment. And I gathered with 15 other sisters and women that joined the space, co-created with other amazing practitioners, you know. Shout out to Sarah Lashab of Healing Loudly LLC. She is a trauma-informed therapist. Zaylene Gonzalez leading a phenomenal yoni steam ceremony. Danielle Garcia for leading a empowered yoga flow. And a special shout out to Maddie Eagle of Flying Eagle Kombucha for donating and nourishing us with brunch. But also to all the women and people with wombs that came to that retreat, really every person had a part in holding space for all of us on this journey, because womb healing is not a journey for the faint of heart. And in planning this and promoting this retreat and inviting people into the retreat to participate in this kind of sacred healing and initiation to it for many, I saw so many women who just lit up and were like, I'm a little nervous about it, but I'm ready. And I'm excited to be there. I want to be there. I want to work through this. I'm hungry for conversations and spaces to work through my experience in my womb space and how it impacts how I show up in this world. And I also saw women who had interest, but for whatever reason were repelled from it, you know, and it's a part of the journey, and we have to honor everyone's, especially for someone who wants to hold space for women in this way. Like, I have to honor each person on their journey, and I understand that it's not the right time for everybody. We have to step into that. We actively have to step into that. And honestly, when you do this kind of work, when you are doing womb healing, especially in the way that we were facilitating and holding space for each other, you are born anew. You are birthed anew after it. And you have to be willing and ready to do that. And that means being willing and ready to let go of certain parts of you and the things that you hold on to because they're comfortable and safe, but maybe aren't always for our highest good and inhibits our growth. But I honor everyone that came, and I honor everyone that didn't or couldn't for whatever reason. And it was powerful. And I think it wasn't an easy journey for everybody. There was a range of emotions and experiences. At the end of the day, everyone felt meaning, profound meaning in that space, in that day of retreat and the day of communing in sisterhood and connecting over this really sensitive topics of infertility, miscarriage, abortion, pregnancy, lack of desire to even have children, and every experience in between, you know, showed up in that space. And to find peace and community amongst grief and pain and joy and new life, you know, it's beautiful how all these experiences can coexist. And I think honestly, a container like that day retreat was a perfect expression of the womb space in itself, right? The womb, our yoni, our womb, our vagina, our sacral energy, it holds so much pain, whether that's, you know, just a part of our monthly cycle with menstruation or childbirth or trauma, but also can hold so much pleasure and joy and just divine feminine expression. And so we got to honor all of that in one day, and it was such a beautiful expression of the womb and womb healing. And I totally feel that our ancestors were there in that space with us, all the women that have come before us, all the women that have brought us to that space. You know, it was more than just the 15 women that showed up that day. There were generations of women being represented. So it makes me emotional, obviously. It's huge. Such a release, truly such a release. And what magic, what powerful witches are we that we communed under a full moon in Scorpio to release and to shed what no longer serves us, so that we can create space for what's for us, and what is the example, or what is mirroring, what is leading to this life that we are manifesting and hoping to create. You know, our wombs are a space of, it's an energetic portal. people with wombs usher life into this world. It's like the veil. It is bringing souls through to this life, and that is so powerful. Yet we live in a world that I think, you know, there's this existence of fear to the power of the womb and the power of women, and there's a long history of women and people with wombs being suppressed, oppressed, violence against women, to keep us small and controlled, because there is immense power. Not to say there isn't immense power in the masculine as well, but there's a long history of imbalance with it. And I don't know, maybe there's something to be feared about the divine feminine, because we can bring you into this world and we can bring you out, right? The energy of the divine feminine, it's not all love and light at all. It is chaos, it is destruction, it is rage, it is the mother and everything that she is. Think of Mother Nature. She brings life, yet she will take it away and destroy it just as quickly. And that is the energy of the mother and the divine feminine. And that is the energy of the womb. The womb can be a hostile environment. For many, it impacts our ability to bring life into this world. And it's this inner ecosystem that needs to be treated with love and to be nourished. Because if we don't, it can work against us. And so many women have challenges with, you know, their menstrual cycle, PCOS. You know, there really is so many things. Hormonal imbalances, it's... And yet, when we are conscious of the power of our womb, we also have to be aware of the immense responsibility we have to care for ourselves. To truly allow ourselves to rest and receive. And I know so many women, including myself, that have a hard time receiving. We feel like we have to do everything ourselves. It's a symptom of motherhood, I suppose. You know, go, do. Living in this modern world, and women wanting a seat at the table, we've had to fight for that, you know. And now all the fighting, it was a conversation that came up in the womb retreat. I just want to lay down. I just want to rest. But there is this balance that we have to strike of action and rest. And it's hard. I mean, I know burnout. I'm no stranger to it, especially in my own learning of my conditioning in this life of hard work and doing everything yourself. And, you know, I'm trying to break free from my own conditioning, let alone what the world has conditioned me to believe about myself as a woman in my womb space, you know. I'm in my early 30s and I'm not married. I'm single. I don't have children. And people have something to say about that. The world has something to say about that. Some people could perceive that in a certain way. You know, I'm damned if I have children. People will have something to say about women that have children and how they should parent them and all these things about what you should do. And you know, especially if you're having children within the medical system, there's certain things that, you know, are so much trauma in that experience too. And then if you don't want to have children or you don't have them yet, oh man, everyone has questions for you too. So it's like everyone has something to say about women and their womb spaces and how they use them or how they don't use them. And you know, I think a big part of this retreat is how do we break free from all of that, and how can we honor our own path and our natural rhythms. it's the start of a much bigger conversation. This retreat is just the beginning. This is going to be happening again for sure. These conversations are so important. They're immensely important, and so let's continue it. Let's continue it here. Let's continue it in person on other platforms, within our own relationships with other women in our lives. Like, I think it's something to explore. And so I'm gonna shuffle the cards today and see what other collective message can come up for us around womb healing. Spirit, angels, and guides, come through and give us a message for our highest and greatest good for this collective when it comes to womb healing and the divine feminine. What message do you have for us, Spirit? As we connect with the energy of the retreat and all that we've learned from it, what message do you have for us, Spirit, on this journey of womb healing and empowerment? Where do we go from here, Spirit? What message do you have for us as a collective? Okay. Wow. So the cards that I got were the Page of Pentacles, the Empress. It's you. It's us. It's us. And the Hanged Man. Which is super interesting. You know, there's something here, there's something to be said about sitting with the information and exploring this path more. And also seeing when you're sitting in your divine feminine energy, when you're sitting in your creative feminine expression, of being in your stillness, of being in your rest, and being in your space, and creating comfort and nourishment for yourself. It's almost like surrender now. Surrender control, because your full expression of yourself is really the only thing that you can control. It's true. I mean, what do we really have control over, other than observing the quality of our thoughts and our actions in response to it, and observing our emotions as well, our emotional experience. And so what do you observe now? What can you surrender to? What comes toward you? What's being offered to you when you are in your Empress energy, when you are in your divine feminine energy, when you're in your power? What comes towards you? What is being offered to you? Notice and pay attention. I feel like there's this energy shifting, especially as you release the emotional hold of things that don't serve you, especially after this full moon in Scorpio. You're releasing the things that don't match your 10 of Cups at the bottom of the deck. This is the core theme of the reading is you allowing yourself to step into your wish fulfillment, and that's shared with love and family and community. And this energy feels like stillness, and it feels like slow growth, at least noticing slow growth in the tangible things in our external world, in our lives. But it is being cultivated by this inner knowing and confidence, and just being in that yummy Empress energy. I mean, I think the Empress energy is so yummy. It's Venusian energy. It's very much Aphrodite. It's very much giving Taurus and Libra. Okay. Venus ruled energy. Very feminine. And so when you can allow yourself to step into that feminine, it's also understanding the darker side of feminine energy too. I see the High Priestess as that. Paying attention with your intuition. Surrendering control and just knowing, just paying attention. I think this is also understanding and this knowing that as you release what doesn't look like your 10 of Cups, you observe what comes in and decide if it's a match to what your vision is. And it's maybe a vision, maybe you know what that vision for your life and your 10 of Cups, your happily ever after, maybe you know what that looks like in detail, or maybe it's just an inner feeling and a knowing, and you're gonna know it when you see it, you know, when it comes towards you. I do think that there is a lot of communication, a lot of information being shared, a lot of action toward you, even as you're in your Empress energy, and a lot of curiosity, a lot of questions, a lot of eyes on you as you step into it. It's very alluring energy too. So let's see what else is coming through for this collective. Yeah, this is you stepping into new energy, the Fool. This is you releasing the emotional worries and pains of the past, releasing the past and knowing that, yeah, there is some grief, there is some emotion that's being processed, but you're moving through the threshold of it and you're preparing for what's next because you know that you deserve. Empress energy is knowing your worth and knowing what you deserve, and so you've created space for it now, and now here it comes. But it comes when you are in this emotional and intellectual vibration of your love and your energy and your power, being in your own energy, calling your energy back to you. So much of womb healing is cord cutting, right? Letting go of the things that we store in our womb space, old emotions, memory, experiences that are painful or maybe keep us from calling in the life that we deserve. And so as you release that and just letting go of your attachment to it, you step into this energy, this like new state of being. When you are in my office, my hypno office, that is a sign that you are ready to experience a different state of being, right? You're ready to let go of these painful patterns and behaviors and mindsets that keep you stuck. And you're ready to experience something new. And in order to manifest that into your life, in order to even notice the things that you're calling in and creating into your life, and these signs that show you that you are on the right path, you have to be in a different state of being to even recognize it, right? It's like you want to call in love and romance into your life, but you get stuck in these loops when you just only focus on what's not working. But if you are in your own essence, your own energy, your own power, and your own love, and you're in love with yourself and your life that you're creating, it's going to be a lot easier to recognize what's for you as it comes in, because it's a vibrational match, right? And so that's kind of what the Fool invites you to do, is step into this new frequency, step into that reckless abandon of like, I'm just ready for this new beginning. And I don't really know where I'm going, but the Fool really doesn't care. The Fool is maybe a little naive, but truly there's power in innocence too, of like, I just let go of everything that's holding me back and I'm just ready for a new experience, and it's powerful. These girls are crazy. What else? Yeah. Ooh. Okay, it's a lot of cards. Hold on. What advice or guidance do you have for us? Yeah, prepare. Preparing, well, I think you're already prepared actually, but it's about staying open to love, staying open to what's out there. This also feels like with the Lovers and the Two of Wands, it's networking, it's putting yourself out there, it's extending your energy, it's letting the world know that you're ready to connect, that you're ready to match and to you know, you're ready to vibe with what's for you. It's like you're putting your energetic bobber in the water and then, you know, preparing to catch, you know, what's in alignment for you. And this is a very empowered choice too. I think the Lovers is obviously about love and union. That's what you're calling in many ways. But it's also about making choices. And the card asks the question too, are you making choices from a place of love? Or are you making choices from a place of fear? And so as you put your energy out there, as you prepare to call in what's for you and what's next, do it from a place of love, of self-love, of knowing your worth and being in your power and independence and abundance. This is giving, staying in your lane. You kind of have to hold the vibration here for what's for you. That's what that feels like. Womb healing, right? Releasing these things of the past, these old experiences, generational trauma. Easier said than done, but as you commit to this work of womb healing, as you commit to that, as you commit to yourself in your life, in your birthright, in your abundance, and all the things that are for you, knowing that you can have the things that you want because you want them, because you are just innately deserving of them. So when you release any limiting beliefs and doubts and fears, and you just allow yourself to step into it, into your power, just bask in it, enjoy everything you've created. You have to hold that vibration so that the things that are for you can find you, and they will find you. What is for you will not miss you. Never, never, never. It really just depends on, are you ready to even experience your own power? The cards would suggest, yes, you are. You're doing it actively. So this is basically a hug from the universe saying like, yes, good job, babe. Just keep choosing love. Just keep choosing the things that honor you. Yeah, things start to shift and change. Your womb healing is a divine calling. Things are shifting. You're just absolutely moving in alignment. Obviously, doing this kind of womb healing during the full moon in Scorpio, just how it all aligned, right? It's powerful. And if you haven't done so, maybe now is a beautiful time for you to do some womb healing. You know, in the retreat, we did yoga, we did breath work, we did guided meditation, we reflected on our own self-compassion, we did journaling, we wrote a letter to our womb space, we did a yoni steam, all of these things helping us connect back into our body, connecting back into our womb space. And now is the time. now is the time for you to do that and to let go of these things that hold you back, these pains. It's time to let it go. It's just time. It's time. And the gift, the promise of this letting go is relief. And the gift and the promise of letting go of these things that don't serve you is that you receive what is for you. It's time. And things are shifting and things are growing intentionally. You know, it's like nature. I sit out here and I look at this pond and I watch the birds and the alligators and the ducks, and I just look at the trees, and I love this daily reminder and this constant connection with nature to help me understand that just like nature, I am nature. I am a part of nature. I am Mother Nature. I am connected to her. And I look at her and it mirrors back to me my own potential. And I understand that everything happens organically and in the right timing. Flowers bloom in perfect timing. It is just a part of their essence, right? You plant the seed and it will grow and it will bloom in the right conditions. So are you in the right conditions for yourself to bloom? And are you allowing reciprocity in your life? Are you allowing yourself to participate in this equal give and take with the Six of Pentacles, the Knight of Pentacles, the Knight of Cups, and the Two of Swords? The Ace of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. The question is, are you ready to water the seeds that you've planted of your own intentions into your life and watch it grow? And if you're feeling doubt or disconnection from it, if you don't believe that you can have the things that you want, if you don't believe that you're manifesting things, if you feel really disconnected from it or not ready to participate in this life that you are creating, come back to rest and come back to your energy and your empowerment. There's nothing wrong with you. Sometimes our own power, it scares us. And so where there's fear, that is where our love needs to go. So where do you need to send a little bit more love today? I'm sending a little bit more love into my heart space today because I have today off and I'm noticing discomfort of choosing to not do anything really other than just to rest and relax and do the things that feel good. And there's discomfort in that and sitting in silence even though I crave it. So that's what I'm sitting with today. But you are truly building such a beautiful life, and the seeds are here, the opportunities for sustainable love and practices for health and well-being are here. So where can you recognize your own abundance today and nurture that in the true divine feminine way? I'm going to leave it at that. I talked about a lot of things in here, but I just wanted to process. But if anything, in listening to this, I hope you feel inspired to do your own womb healing. I hope you feel inspired to stay connected here for more conversations around it and just personal empowerment. I hope you invest in your own mental health and well-being and choose to have that abundant and loving mindset for yourself. I hope you choose rest and kindness and self-compassion today because you deserve it. So I love you so much, and I'll see you next time.